What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to yet another video here inside the nerdy realm and the multiverse. We've got the 6th episode, the season finale of Moon Knight. So today we are going to give our thoughts on it in this series as a whole, as well as explain and break down a few things that happened in this episode. As usual, as we are breaking down and talking about this series and episode in its entirety, there will be spoilers, so this is your spoiler warning now. If you haven't seen the episode yet, feel free to come back here once you have seen it for yourself. As expected with the finale, there were tons of things that happened, being that it is the conclusion to the story for now. So let's cover the major points that happened throughout the episode as well as the post-credit scene, and then we can give our thoughts on the episode and then the entire series as a whole. Obviously, we can't have the conclusion to this story without the villains being defeated, and the defeat of Ahmed and Harrow was all a lead up from a ton of different things that happened throughout the episode. So let's get into talking about everything. First off, of course, Mark had to get Steven back so that they could coincide peacefully and work together to do what needs to be done. He does this by leaving the field of reeds almost instantly with the Purified Heart and going all the way back into the sands of the Duat. Mark begins to turn to stone as Steven did, and they seem to both be stuck there, but of course that wasn't going to happen as the doors back to the world above open and they are both released from the Duat. All of this is happening while Layla is secretly blending in with Harrow's crew, as Taweret is trying to warn her and tell her to go and free Khonshu so that Mark and Steven can help her and end the threat that Ahmed brings to the world. We can really see the type of hypocrite that Ahmed is, as her own avatar's scales are not balanced, yet she judges everyone else's scales for being unbalanced. Even Harrow ends up being okay with this and going along with it. As Mark and Steven are practically resurrected or reborn after leaving the Duat, Khonshu can feel his presence as he is in a fight with Ahmed and he disappears. Of course, all of this is going to lead into some crazy action sequences as we get Moon Knight and Mr. Knight fighting Harrow and his crew. While Layla is trying to escape the pyramid that collapsed from the inside, we see the debris being pushed down as she walks out in a fully new look as the avatar of Taweret. Layla is now the Scarlet Scarab, a version of a character from the comics. While Mark, Steven, and Layla are fighting Harrow, Khonshu is fighting Ahmed. Both sides are getting the upper hand over each other throughout the episode, but then Harrow gets the upper hand as Ahmed does as well, and he is about to beat Moon Knight and erase his soul, it looks like. But then Mark blacks out as another personality is coming out, it seems, and then Mark wakes back up as Harrow is on the ground nearly dead, as well as his other accomplices. Mark and Steven assure each other that whoever did that was not either of them. Mark and Layla work together to defeat Ahmed finally, as the only way to do so is trap her inside of a mortal body, so they do this and trap her inside of Harrow's body. Khonshu says that Harrow must be killed so that Ahmed cannot escape again, but Mark says no and that he agreed to set them free after they beat Ahmed, so Khonshu agrees and quote unquote sets them free. And then the episode goes back to the trippy stuff again, as Mark and Steven then wake back up inside of the same asylum they were in last episode when Harrow shot and killed him, but this time they are aware of each other and work with each other, and they notice that none of the asylum is real as they start to notice the flaws in it, as we can see Harrow's blood on the floor from him walking with the glass in his shoes. Of course, we get the last laters gators from Steven as he and Mark leave the asylum to go save the world. And then Steven wakes back up inside of the apartment we started the series in. We see there are two fish in the fish tank, referencing how Mark and Steven are now one and are working together rather than ignoring each other. And then the episode ends when Steven falls over, basically just how we started the first episode as well. Of course, with Marvel, they love their post-credit scenes, and we did indeed get one in this episode. We see Harrow in a psychiatric hospital, a real one, not like the one we saw Mark and Steven in, and we see a mysterious person take Harrow outside in his wheelchair, strolling by dead nurses and workers. This person puts Harrow in a limo. In the limo, we see Khonshu sitting inside of it, and he is wearing a suit, which is also very reminiscent of the comics, by the way. Harrow laughs and says that Khonshu can't hurt them, referring to him and Ahmed, who was trapped in his body. Khonshu explains that Mark never knew how troubled he really was, and reveals the third identity that we have all been waiting to see, Jake Lockley. Jake is obviously the most violent one, as he has clearly been the one that has been killing the people every time Mark or Steven blacked out. And of course, this means that Khonshu chose him, and Mark was foolish for thinking that Khonshu wanted Layla, when in reality, he never needed anyone else. And the series or season ends after Jake seemingly kills Harrow and drives off in a limo. The limo has Spectre on the license plate, something straight from the comics, as is Jake's entire style in this. Now that we have kind of gone back and recapped everything as well as explained a bit of some things that happened, let's give our thoughts on the episode and the entire season as a whole, now that every episode has come out. This episode and the series as a whole was such an amazing, emotional, and extremely impressive story. As someone who has loved the character of Moon Knight for some time now, I can say that I am so happy with what this series gave us. I am also so glad that Marvel and Disney Plus got this series right. With many Marvel shows that have come from Disney Plus, there have been some bad episodes and some bad pacing, and honestly, this series had none of those issues whatsoever. The acting in this series was phenomenal, whether it was Ethan Hawke as Arthur, May Kalamaui as Layla, or of course Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. The action sequences were great, especially in the finale. I would even say that this episode brought us some of the best action sequences that we have seen in the MCU, as Mr. Knight and Moon Knight fought their way through the streets. It was truly great. The representation was done well enough in my opinion, and I am so glad that they kept it there. And of course, Jake Lockley coming in the post-credit scene was amazing. Everything in this episode, especially the ending and the post-credit scene, really leaves a huge door open for a second season, and I am really hoping that will happen, and I have a feeling it will. We need a second season. This one was absolutely amazing. This was easily the best Marvel Disney Plus finale episode, and honestly my favorite series that has come out from Disney Plus's Marvel releases. I cannot wait for the next series, and I cannot wait to hear confirmation of whether we are getting a second season. That about does it for Moon Knight for now. Make sure to let us know your thoughts about the episode and the series as a whole down in the comments below. This week is jam-packed with Marvel stuff, so stay tuned, as of course with Doctor Strange's release in theaters, we'll have videos coming out on that. As always, if you're feeling extra nerdy today, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on to help support the channel and to get more nerdy content from us. If you wish to support us even further, feel free to check out the links in the description. And as I always say, thank you all for watching. We will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.